What if I told you that the simple glass of water sitting next to you right now could be the key to unlocking wealth beyond your wildest imagination? I know that sounds impossible, maybe even ridiculous, but before you click away, let me share something that might just change everything you thought you knew about manifestation and abundance. There's a woman, an ordinary woman just like you and me, who discovered 5 specific words that she whispered to her water every single day for 30 days. The result? She manifested $230 million. Not a typo, not an exaggeration, $230 million. And the most fascinating part? She never spoke these words out loud, not once. Has this ever happened to you? Where you stumbled upon something so simple, so ancient, yet so powerful that it almost feels too good to be true? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, I want you to do something right now. Actually, stop what you're doing and grab a glass of water. Fill it up, hold it in your hands, and really look at it. Because what you're about to discover might surprise you. This isn't just H2O. This isn't just something you drink when you're thirsty. Florence Scovel Shinn understood something profound about water that modern science is only beginning to validate. That water is alive, conscious, and capable of holding the very frequency of your deepest intentions. Your body is approximately 70% water. Think about that for a moment. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every dream you dare to dream, all of it flows through the water in your cells. Ancient spiritual traditions across the world have known this secret for thousands of years. The blessed water in Hindu temples, the holy water in Christian churches, the sacred rivers revered across cultures, they all point to the same truth. Water is not just a physical substance. It's a carrier of energy, intention, and transformation. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you goes deeper than simple positive thinking or wishful manifestation techniques. This is about reprogramming your cellular reality from the inside out. It's about understanding that when you bless your water with specific words whispered in a specific way, you're not just performing some mystical ritual. You're literally changing the molecular structure of the liquid that makes up most of your being. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something most manifestation teachers won't tell you. The reason these 5 words must never be spoken out loud has nothing to do with superstition or secrecy for the sake of mystery. There's an actual scientific and spiritual principle at work here, one that Florence Scovel Shinn mastered decades ago, and one that transforms the way energy moves through your consciousness and into physical reality. You see, when you whisper something, you're not just lowering your volume. You're actually concentrating your intention in a way that speaking out loud simply cannot achieve. Think of it like this. A whisper is a laser beam, focused and precise. Speaking out loud is more like a flashlight, scattered and diffused. The whisper bypasses your ego, that critical voice in your head that judges and doubts everything you do. It speaks directly to what Shinn called the subconscious mind, that vast reservoir of power within you that actually runs 95% of your life behind the scenes. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking right now. This sounds completely insane. Whispering words to water? Manifesting millions of dollars through a daily ritual? I understand. That's skepticism, because I felt it too when I first encountered this hidden truth. Our rational minds want proof, evidence, something tangible we can measure and verify. But here's what I've learned through years of studying manifestation, consciousness, and the principles that Florence Scovel Shinn taught so brilliantly. The biggest transformations in life rarely make sense to the logical mind at first. They require a different kind of knowing, a willingness to suspend disbelief just long enough, to test something for yourself. The reason this practice demands secrecy isn't about creating mystery for the sake of drama. There's genuine wisdom in keeping your sacred intentions private. When you announce your manifestation goals to everyone around you, something fascinating happens on an energetic level. Their doubts, their skepticism, their well-meaning but limiting beliefs about what's possible begin to infiltrate your own consciousness. It's like planting a seed in fertile soil, and then inviting everyone to come dig it up every few days to see if it's growing yet. The constant exposure kills the very thing you're trying to nurture. Silence protects your emerging reality from contamination. It creates a sacred space where your intention can take root without interference. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that manifestation isn't just about positive thinking or repeating affirmations you don't really believe. It's about alignment between what you're holding internally and what shows up externally in your journey through life. Every decision you make, every thought pattern you reinforce, every ritual you commit to becomes part of the fabric of your reality. And this water blessing practice, when done correctly with genuine conviction, creates a daily anchor point for that alignment. Now, I want to go even deeper into this and reveal exactly what these 5 sacred words are and why each one carries a specific frequency that impacts your cellular consciousness in a unique way. But before we get there, I need you to do something for me. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for transformation," because that declaration is actually part of activating what you're about to learn. If this resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. I share practical manifestation techniques that create real transformation, not just empty theory. The 5 words I'm about to share with you are simple, yet each one carries a vibrational frequency that has been recognized across spiritual traditions for centuries. But before I reveal them, I need you to truly connect with the water you're holding right now. Look at it, not just a casual glance, but really observe it. Notice how the light moves through it, how it reflects the environment around you, how it sits perfectly still yet holds the potential for movement at any moment. This simple act of observation is already beginning to shift something within your consciousness. You're moving from autopilot mode, where you consume water mindlessly dozens of times a day, into a state of presence and awareness. Most people go through life treating water as nothing more than a basic necessity, something to quench thirst or stay hydrated. But what if every single glass you've ever drunk was a missed opportunity? What if each one could have been programmed with the exact frequency of abundance, prosperity, and wealth that you desire? The journey toward manifesting your dreams isn't always about making massive, dramatic decisions. Sometimes it's about recognizing the hidden truth in the ordinary moments, the daily rituals that shape your reality behind the scenes without you even noticing. When you hold that water and truly see it, you're acknowledging something profound. This substance makes up 70% of your physical body. Every cell, every organ, every thought passing through your brain is moving through water. The impact of this realization cannot be overstated. You are not separate from the water you drink. It becomes you within hours. It flows through your bloodstream, bathes your tissues, carries nutrients and energy to every corner of your being. If water can be programmed with intention, and you are mostly water, then the logical revelation is clear. You are programmable. Your reality is malleable. Your mindset can be restructured at the cellular level. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that we must become conscious creators rather than unconscious reactors. The difference between someone who manifests abundance and someone who struggles financially often has nothing to do with intelligence, hard work, or even opportunity. It has everything to do with the internal frequency they're broadcasting into the universe moment by moment. And this water ritual creates a tangible, physical practice that anchors that frequency into your daily existence. It transforms something mundane into something sacred. It turns hydration into manifestation. Now, let me share what these 5 specific words are and why speaking them in a particular sequence matters more than you might imagine. But first, I want you to make a declaration right here and now. Write in the comments, "My water holds intention," because that simple statement is your commitment to seeing this journey through with genuine conviction. The revelation that your body is 70% water isn't just a biological fact you learned in school and forgot about. It's the key to understanding how transformation happens at the deepest level. Every single thought you think creates an electrical impulse that moves through the water in your brain. Every emotion you feel generates a chemical cascade that travels through the water in your bloodstream. Every word you speak, every belief you hold, every decision you make is literally flowing through the aqueous medium that constitutes most of your physical being. This isn't mysticism. This is biology meeting consciousness in a way that most people never stop to consider. When you understand this hidden truth, you begin to see why water blessing rituals have existed across virtually every spiritual tradition on Earth for thousands of years. The Hindu priests blessing water in ancient temples weren't performing empty ceremonies. They understood something profound about the nature of reality and consciousness. Christian baptism isn't just symbolic washing. It represents a genuine energetic transformation through sacred water. The Ganges River isn't revered as holy because of superstition. Millions of people across generations have recognized that certain waters carry frequencies of healing, purification, and spiritual awakening. These practices emerged independently across cultures, separated by vast distances and completely different belief systems. Yet they all arrived at the same conclusion. Water is a carrier of intention, energy, and divine consciousness. Florence Scovel Shinn studied these ancient principles and recognized that they weren't outdated religious dogma. They were sophisticated technologies of consciousness that modern society had dismissed in favor of purely materialistic thinking. But here's what's fascinating about the journey we're on right now in human history. Science is finally catching up to what mystics have known forever. Research into water's memory, its crystalline structure, its response to intention and emotion, is revealing that water is far more complex and conscious than we ever imagined. The impact of this. Research validates what spiritual teachers have been saying for millennia. When you whisper those 5 sacred words to your water, you're not doing something new. You're tapping into an ancient lineage of practice that spans cultures, religions, and time periods. You're joining a tradition that recognizes water as the bridge between physical matter and pure consciousness, between your internal mindset and your external reality. The reason this practice works isn't because of magic or wishful thinking. It works because you're aligning yourself with fundamental principles of how consciousness interacts with matter behind the scenes of everyday perception. Now, understanding this foundation changes everything about how we approach the actual ritual itself, and there are specific steps that must be followed with precision if you want to see genuine results materialize in your life. If this resonates with you, write in the comments. I understand the deeper truth because your words create ripples in your own consciousness just as powerfully as they program water. Water isn't just sitting in your glass waiting to hydrate you. It's actively receiving information from everything around it. The energy in the room, the emotions you're feeling, the thoughts racing through your mind, even the words being spoken nearby are all being absorbed and held within the molecular structure of that water. This isn't some abstract spiritual concept anymore. This is observable reality when you understand how matter responds to consciousness. Water acts as a recording device, capturing and storing the energetic signature of whatever it encounters. The revelation here is that you have the power to deliberately program what gets recorded. Think about how we program computers. We input specific data, run certain codes, and the machine responds accordingly. Water operates on a similar principle, except it's infinitely more sophisticated because it's alive with consciousness. When you intentionally direct focused energy toward water through whispered words charged with emotion and conviction, you're literally encoding that water with a specific frequency. That programmed water then enters your body and becomes part of your cellular matrix. Your cells begin vibrating at the frequency of whatever you programmed into that water. This is how transformation happens from the inside out, how your internal mindset becomes your external reality. The decisions you make every single day, Either reinforce old patterns or create new pathways in your consciousness. Most people drink water unconsciously, missing the opportunity to use this moment as a catalyst for change. But when you understand that water is programmable, suddenly every glass becomes a chance to rewire your relationship with abundance, prosperity, and wealth. The impact of this practice compounds over time because you're not just thinking positive thoughts that evaporate when life gets challenging. You're physically integrating new frequencies into the very substance that makes up most of your being. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized that manifestation requires more than wishful thinking. It requires embodiment. You must become the frequency of what you desire before it can manifest in physical form. And this water programming practice is one of the most direct paths to embodiment because water is the medium through which consciousness expresses itself in your body. Behind the scenes of your everyday awareness, your cells are constantly communicating, adapting, and responding to the energetic environment you create. When that environment is saturated with the frequency of love, gratitude, abundance, prosperity, and wealth whispered into every drop of water you consume, your cellular intelligence begins making different choices, attracting different opportunities, and manifesting different outcomes. Now, the question becomes, what exactly are these 5 words, and why must they be spoken in a particular sequence to activate their full potential? If you're feeling the truth of what I'm sharing, write in the comments, "I'm reprogramming my reality." The moment water touches your lips, it begins an incredible journey through your entire body. Within minutes, it's absorbed into your bloodstream. Within hours, it's traveled to every organ, every tissue, every single cell that keeps you alive. That water becomes the medium through which nutrients are delivered, toxins are removed, and communication happens between different parts of your being. Your cells are literally bathing in the water you consume, absorbing not just the physical molecules, but the energetic information those molecules carry. This is where the hidden truth becomes impossible to ignore. When you program water with intention before drinking it, you're not just performing some external ritual. You're directly programming your cellular consciousness. Your cells don't speak English or any human language, but they respond to frequency. Everything in the universe operates on frequency, from the chair you're sitting on to the thoughts moving through your mind right now. The difference between health and disease, between abundance and scarcity, between joy and depression is simply a difference in vibrational frequency. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that changing your life requires changing your frequency, and changing your frequency requires working at the cellular level, where your physical reality is actually constructed behind the scenes of your conscious awareness. Most people approach manifestation backwards. They try to think their way into wealth while their cells are still vibrating at the frequency of lack. They affirm abundance while their body carries the stress, tension, and scarcity mindset of years or even decades. The transformation they seek remains elusive because there's a fundamental misalignment between what they consciously desire and what their cellular intelligence is broadcasting. But when you infuse water with the exact frequency you want to manifest, and that water becomes part of your cellular structure, you're creating alignment from the deepest possible level. You're not trying to override your body's programming with willpower. You're actually reprogramming the system itself. Imagine if every time you felt thirsty, instead of just grabbing water out of habit, you recognized it as an opportunity to make a conscious decision that impacts your entire energetic field, an opportunity to shift your internal state toward the reality you're trying to create. This isn't about adding more to your already busy life. It's about transforming something you already do multiple times every day into a powerful practice that compounds with each repetition. The journey toward manifesting your desires doesn't require dramatic revelations or massive life changes. Sometimes it requires recognizing the extraordinary potential hidden within the most ordinary moments. And right now, understanding how to properly infuse your water with these 5 sacred words is about to shift everything you thought you knew about manifestation. Write in the comments, My cells are listening if you're ready to discover exactly how this programming process works. The 5 words that carry the frequency of manifestation are simple yet profound: love, gratitude, abundance, prosperity, and wealth. Write them down right now. Not because you'll forget them, but because the act of writing creates a physical commitment that reinforces your intention. Each of these words has been chosen with absolute precision because each one represents a specific vibrational frequency that builds upon the previous one. This isn't random. This is a carefully constructed sequence that takes you on a journey from the highest spiritual frequencies down into the most tangible material manifestation. Love is the foundation, the highest frequency in the universe. Everything that exists was created from love. And when you begin your water blessing with this word, you're aligning yourself with the creative force itself. Gratitude follows, because it's the bridge between receiving and giving, between acknowledging what is and calling forth what will be. When you feel genuine gratitude, you signal to the universe that you're already operating from a place of abundance rather than lack. Then comes abundance itself, expanding your consciousness beyond limited thinking into the realm of infinite possibility. Prosperity narrows that infinite potential into the channel of your personal life, bringing that universal abundance directly to you. And finally, wealth grounds everything into the physical, material reality of money, resources, and financial freedom. But here's what most people miss, and this is where the transformation either happens or fails completely. It's not enough to just say these words, even if you whisper them with sincerity. The method matters more than you can imagine. The sequence matters. The feeling behind each word matters. The visualization you hold while speaking matters. This isn't a mechanical process where you robotically repeat 5 words and expect miracles. This is a sacred practice that requires your full presence, genuine emotion, and unwavering conviction. The decisions you make about how seriously you approach this ritual will directly impact the results you experience. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe responds not to your words, but to the consciousness behind your words. 2 people can speak the exact same affirmation, and one manifests everything they desire while the other sees no change whatsoever. The difference isn't in the words themselves, but in the energetic frequency from which those words are spoken. Behind the scenes of this simple practice lies a sophisticated understanding of how consciousness shapes reality, and getting the technique right is what separates those who transform their lives from those who dismiss this as wishful thinking. Now let me walk you through the exact process, step by step, so you understand precisely how to program your water for maximum manifestation power. If you're committed to doing this correctly, write in the comments, "I choose precision over shortcuts." When I say this method amplifies your manifestation power exponentially, I need you to understand what that really means. We're not talking about small incremental improvements where you manifest a few extra dollars here and there. Exponential growth means the results multiply upon themselves. It means the impact compounds in ways that seem almost miraculous when you look back at where you started. This is the difference between linear progress and quantum leaps in consciousness. Most manifestation practices give you linear results at best because they only engage your conscious mind. But this water blessing ritual works at the cellular level, the subconscious level, and the energetic level simultaneously, creating a compounding effect that accelerates your transformation beyond what seems logically possible. Let me tell you about Monica. She was a single mother working 2 jobs, drowning in debt, convinced that financial freedom was something other people experienced, but never her. Someone shared this exact practice with her, and honestly, she thought it was absurd, but she was desperate enough to try anything. So she committed to 30 days of blessing her water with these 5 sacred words. The first week, nothing obvious changed externally, but she noticed her mindset shifting. She felt calmer, more confident, less reactive to stress. By week 2, small opportunities started appearing. A former colleague reached out about a business opportunity. An unexpected check arrived in the mail. By week 3, the momentum was undeniable. Decisions that once terrified her now felt clear and obvious. And by the end of those 30 days, Monica had manifested $230 million through a series of synchronistic events that she still describes as unbelievable. Now, I'm not promising you'll manifest that exact amount. Everyone's journey is different, and the universe knows what you specifically need for your highest good. But Monica's story isn't unique. There are thousands of people who have discovered the hidden truth behind this practice and experienced results that completely transformed their relationship with abundance. The revelation here is that you don't need to be special, spiritually advanced, or somehow more worthy than you already are. You just need to be willing to show up with genuine conviction and do the practice correctly every single day. Behind the scenes of Monica's massive manifestation was simply a woman who decided to trust the process, who chose faith over doubt, who committed to the ritual even when her logical mind said it was impossible. If you feel that same calling to trust this process, write in the comments, "I'm ready for exponential growth." The first moment of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. This is why the water blessing practice begins in the morning, before you've consumed anything, before the chaos of daily life has pulled you in a dozen different directions. There's something sacred about that quiet space between sleeping and fully waking, when your consciousness is still soft and malleable, not yet hardened into the habitual thought patterns that normally run your life. This is when your subconscious mind is most receptive, most open to receiving new programming. Before you reach for your phone, before you start mentally reviewing your to-do list, before the outside world makes its demands on your attention, you sit in silence with your first glass of water. The silence isn't empty, it's full of potential. It's the canvas upon which you're about to paint your intention. Most people rush through their mornings on autopilot, never realizing that these first moments are the most powerful opportunity to consciously direct the trajectory of their entire day. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized that manifestation requires deliberate consciousness, not passive wishing. The decisions you make in these quiet morning moments ripple through every subsequent hour, influencing your mindset, your energy, and the opportunities you either notice or miss completely. Now, before you speak those 5 sacred words, you take 3 deep breaths, not shallow chest breathing, but deep belly breaths that activate your parasympathetic nervous system and shift your body out of stress mode into a state of calm receptivity. The first breath clears away the residual energy of sleep and yesterday's concerns. The second breath centers you in the present moment, bringing your scattered awareness into focused presence. The third breath opens you to receive, creating space within your consciousness for the transformation you're about to initiate. This isn't just spiritual symbolism. This is practical physiology. When you breathe deeply, you increase oxygen flow to your brain, you calm your heart rate, you signal to every cell in your body that it's safe to relax and be present. Behind the scenes of this simple breathing practice, something profound is happening. You're creating a threshold between ordinary consciousness and sacred space, between mundane routine and intentional ritual. The impact of these 3 breaths cannot be overstated because they establish the container within which the water blessing will occur. Without this foundation, the words you whisper will come from a scattered, distracted mind. With this foundation, those words come from a centered, powerful, fully present consciousness. Now, holding your water close to your heart, you're ready to begin the actual programming process. And this is where most people make critical mistakes that completely undermine their results. If this feels right to you, write in the comments, "I'm creating sacred space." Holding your glass of water directly in front of your heart isn't arbitrary positioning. Your heart is the most powerful electromagnetic generator in your body, producing an electrical field 60 times greater in amplitude than your brain, and a magnetic field 5,000 times stronger. Ancient traditions across the world recognize the heart as the seat of consciousness, the bridge between physical and spiritual, the center from which true transformation emanates. Modern science is finally validating what mystics have always known. Your heart literally broadcasts an energetic signal that extends several feet beyond your body and influences everything around you, including the molecular structure of water. When you place that glass at heart level, you're creating a direct energetic connection between your most powerful broadcasting station and the substance you're about to program. The decisions your heart makes operate at a frequency far more powerful than logical thinking alone. Your heart knows truths your mind hasn't caught up with yet. It perceives reality through feeling and intuition rather than analysis and doubt. This is why manifestation work that only engages the intellect rarely produces lasting results. You have to involve the heart, where genuine emotion lives, where authentic desire resides, where real conviction is born. Now, with your water positioned at your heart center, close your eyes and visualize golden light. Not just any light, but radiant, pure, divine golden light streaming down from above, entering your water from every angle. Watch this light dissolve any heaviness, any stagnant energy, any negativity that the water might have absorbed before reaching your hands. Water is extraordinarily sensitive. It picks up the stress of the person who bottled it, the chaos of the environment where it was stored, the anxiety of your own mind before you began this ritual. The golden light visualization isn't just pretty imagery. It's an energetic cleansing that returns the water to its original state of pure potential, wiping the slate clean so you can inscribe your intention without interference. The impact of this purification step extends beyond the water itself. As you visualize that golden light, you're also cleansing your own energetic field, clearing away the mental clutter and emotional residue that accumulates throughout daily life. Behind the scenes of this simple visualization, you're creating coherence between your heart's electromagnetic field and the water's receptive consciousness. You're establishing a clean channel through which your whispered words can travel with maximum potency and precision. This revelation about energetic contamination is why so many people practice manifestation rituals without results. They're trying to program water that's already saturated with conflicting frequencies, like trying to record a symphony over static noise. Now, with your water purified and your heart engaged, you're finally ready to whisper those 5 sacred words in the specific way that activates their full manifestation power. Write in the comments, "My heart is speaking," if you're following along with genuine presence. Some of you might be thinking this sounds like New Age nonsense, like wishful thinking dressed up in spiritual language. I understand that resistance because we've been conditioned to dismiss anything that can't be measured in a laboratory or proven through conventional means. But here's what you need to understand. Setting intention isn't mystical mumbo-jumbo. It's one of the most practical psychological tools available to you. When you consciously direct your focus toward a specific outcome, your brain's reticular activating system begins filtering reality to show you opportunities, resources, and pathways that were always there but invisible to your previous mindset. Florence Scovel Shinn taught practical metaphysics, not fantasy. She understood that intention setting is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and this water ritual gives you a tangible daily practice to reinforce that bridge. The reason this works has as much to do with neuroscience as it does with spirituality. Every time you perform this ritual with genuine conviction, you're literally rewiring neural pathways in your brain, strengthening the connections associated with abundance, consciousness, while weakening the old patterns of scarcity thinking. The transformation happens behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, but the impact shows up in how you make decisions, how you respond to opportunities, and ultimately in the external circumstances that manifest in your life. Now bring your water close to your lips, not touching yet, but close enough that you could drink if you chose to. This proximity matters more than you realize. You're creating an intimate space between your consciousness and the water that's about to become part of you. The distance between your mouth and the glass is the sacred threshold where intention transfers from thought into physical matter. And here's the critical revelation that most people miss. You must whisper these words. Never speak them out loud. The whisper concentrates your energy, like focusing sunlight through a magnifying glass. When you speak normally, your words scatter into the environment, dissipating their power. But a whisper is directed, controlled, intimate. It's the language your soul uses to communicate directly with the consciousness of water without interference from your analytical mind. There's something profoundly personal about whispering. It removes the performance aspect, the ego's need to sound impressive or convince others. A whisper is just for you and the water, a secret exchange between your intention and the substance that will carry that intention into every cell of your being. This is where the journey from external ritual to internal transformation truly begins, in that quiet moment when your whispered words imprint themselves onto water molecules that are about to become you. Write in the comments, "I speak in whispers," if you're committed to honoring the sacred intimacy of this practice. The first word you whisper is love. Not the romantic love you've been conditioned to think of through movies and songs, but the fundamental creative force of the universe itself. As you whisper this word, you're not just making a sound. You're generating a feeling, an actual electromagnetic frequency that your heart produces when you genuinely feel love. This is where most people fail the practice before they even begin. They whisper the word mechanically without activating the emotion behind it. The word is just a vehicle. The emotion is the fuel that powers the entire journey toward manifestation. Feel genuine love flowing from your heart toward that water. Love for the miracle of existence. Love for your own journey with all its challenges and victories. Love for the mysterious intelligence that keeps your heart beating without conscious effort. Love for the very fact that water exists to sustain life on this planet. When you feel real love, not performed or faked, but authentically felt, something remarkable happens in your physiology. Your heart rhythm becomes coherent, your brain waves synchronize, and your entire electromagnetic field shifts into a frequency that literally restructures the molecular bonds in water. This isn't poetry. This is measurable science that validates ancient wisdom. Now, as you hold that feeling of love and whisper the word, visualize something specific. See every single molecule of water in that glass beginning to light up. Imagine each H2O molecule as a tiny point of golden light, and as your whispered word reaches them, they illuminate one by one until the entire glass is glowing with radiant energy. This visualization serves a crucial purpose beyond creating pretty mental pictures. You're directing your consciousness with precision, giving your intention a clear pathway to follow. The hidden truth about visualization is that your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual physical events. When you see those molecules lighting up with love's frequency, your nervous system responds as if it's really happening, which creates the energetic conditions for it to actually manifest. Behind the scenes of this simple visualization, you're establishing the foundational frequency upon which all other manifestation rests. Love is the highest vibration, the frequency from which all creation emerges. When you program your water with love first, you're essentially tuning your entire being to the channel where miracles happen, where impossible circumstances shift, where abundance flows naturally. The decisions you make from a state of love are fundamentally different from decisions made from fear or scarcity. The impact of starting with this frequency cannot be overstated because it sets the energetic tone for everything that follows. Write in the comments, "Love is my foundation," if you're truly feeling this shift happen within you right now. The second word you whisper is gratitude. And this is where the transformation deepens from abstract spiritual frequency into something profoundly tangible and real. Gratitude isn't just a polite emotion or something you're supposed to feel because spiritual teachers tell you to. Gratitude is one of the most powerful manifestation frequencies in existence because it operates from a paradigm of already having received. When you feel genuine gratitude for this water in your hands, you're acknowledging that you're being sustained, supported, and nourished right now in this moment. You're not begging the universe for abundance. You're recognizing that abundance is already flowing through you with every sip you take. Thank the water itself. Thank it for the miracle of keeping you alive, for traveling through rivers and clouds and earth to reach your glass, for being willing to carry your intention into the deepest parts of your being. This might sound strange, thanking an inanimate substance, but here's the hidden truth Florence Scovel Shinn understood. Nothing is truly inanimate. Everything carries consciousness at some level, and water especially responds to gratitude with a coherence that scientists can actually photograph and measure. Your gratitude literally restructures the crystalline patterns within the water, creating beauty and harmony at the molecular level. Now expand your awareness beyond just the water in your glass. Recognize that this same water makes up 70% of your physical body. The blood flowing through your veins is mostly water. Your brain, your organs, your muscles, all bathing in this remarkable substance. You're not separate from water. You are water, temporarily organized into the form you recognize as yourself. And that water connects you to every living thing on this planet. The water cycle means the molecules you're about to drink have been part of clouds, oceans, plants, animals, and countless other humans throughout history. You're literally connected to all life on Earth through this shared medium. This revelation shifts your perspective from isolated individuals struggling alone toward abundance to interconnected beings supported by the entire web of existence. Behind the scenes of your everyday awareness, you're never actually separate from anything. The decisions you make ripple outward through this interconnected field, and the energy you put into your water ripples back to you multiplied. When you whisper gratitude with this expanded consciousness, understanding that you're thanking not just one glass, but the entire planetary water system that sustains all life, you tap into a field of support that's vastly greater than your individual efforts. The impact of this perspective cannot be measured because it fundamentally changes who you understand yourself to be in relation to abundance, prosperity, and manifestation itself. Write in the comments, "I am connected to all life," if this deeper understanding is landing in your consciousness right now. The third word you whisper is abundance. And this is where the energy shifts from the emotional foundation you've built with love and gratitude into active manifestation frequency. Abundance isn't just about having more money or more things. It's a fundamental state of consciousness that recognizes there's always enough, always more available, always infinite potential flowing through the universe. When you operate from abundance mindset, you make completely different decisions than when you're trapped in scarcity thinking. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You take inspired action where others freeze in fear. The transformation. From scarcity to abundance, consciousness is perhaps the single most important shift you can make on your journey toward financial freedom. As you whisper this word, visualize something extraordinary happening inside that glass. See the water beginning to multiply, to expand, to grow beyond the physical boundaries of the container. This isn't logical. This isn't realistic. That's exactly the point. You're training your consciousness to think beyond the limitations of what seems possible based on your current circumstances. The hidden truth is that your external reality will never exceed your internal capacity to imagine and accept abundance. If your mind can only conceive of small, incremental improvements, that's all you'll ever manifest. But when you stretch your consciousness to hold visions of exponential expansion, unlimited flow, and infinite possibility, you create space for miracles to enter. Watch that water in your mind's eye as it transforms from a static, limited amount into a living, flowing river of pure potential. See it sparkling with energy, bubbling with creative possibility, overflowing the glass and spreading outward in all directions. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe is a limitless source, and scarcity is nothing more than a mistaken belief in separation from that source. Behind the scenes of physical reality, there's an infinite field of pure potential waiting to take form according to your consciousness. When you program your water with the frequency of abundance, you're literally instructing your cellular intelligence to align with that unlimited field rather than the limited conditions you currently see around you. The impact of this visualization goes far beyond the moment of whispering the word. You're encoding your subconscious with new possibilities, new patterns, new pathways for energy and resources to flow toward you. Most people never allow themselves to even imagine true abundance because it feels too unrealistic, too far from their current reality. But that's the very limitation keeping them stuck. Your imagination isn't meant to reflect current circumstances. It's meant to be the bridge to new circumstances, the blueprint your reality uses to reorganize itself. Now, as you feel that sense of unlimited possibility filling both the water and your own consciousness, you're ready to direct all that abundant energy toward your specific life with the next word. Write in the comments, "I choose unlimited." Possibility, if you're willing to release the limits your mind has been holding. The fourth word you whisper is prosperity. And this is where universal abundance becomes personally directed toward your specific life circumstances. Prosperity takes that infinite field of possibility you just activated and channels it directly into your reality, your opportunities, your financial situation. While abundance is the ocean, prosperity is the river that flows specifically to you, bringing resources, connections, and circumstances that support your thriving. As you whisper this word, visualize something that combines ancient symbolism with practical manifestation energy. See that water in your glass, transforming into a golden river. Gold has represented wealth and divine energy across every culture throughout human history. It's not arbitrary. Gold carries a specific frequency that resonates with both material abundance and spiritual enlightenment. Watch that water shift from clear to luminous gold. See it moving and flowing, even though it's contained in your glass. See opportunities floating toward you on that golden current, like gifts being delivered directly to your doorstep. This golden river visualization activates something deep in your subconscious, a primal recognition that prosperity is flowing toward you right now, not someday in the distant future. The decisions you make from this consciousness are fundamentally different because you're no longer operating from "how can I get," but from "how do I receive what's already coming." Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe is constantly trying to deliver prosperity to you, but most people block the flow with limiting beliefs and scarcity consciousness. Behind the scenes of what you consciously perceive, there are infinite opportunities, resources, and pathways trying to reach you. This visualization opens those channels, removes the internal resistance, and allows prosperity to flow naturally. Now comes the fifth and final word, and this is where everything crystallizes into concrete physical manifestation. Whisper wealth. Not abstract abundance or general prosperity, but actual wealth. Money, financial resources. The tangible material abundance that allows you to live freely, support yourself and others, and create the life you genuinely desire. Feel each molecule of that water beginning to vibrate with a specific frequency, the frequency of manifested money. This isn't greed or materialism. This is acknowledging that money is simply energy, and you're programming your cellular consciousness to resonate at the frequency where that energy naturally accumulates. The impact of this final word grounds everything you've built through the previous 4 words into physical reality. You've moved from love's spiritual foundation through gratitude's recognition, expanded into abundance consciousness, directed it as prosperity, and now you're anchoring it as actual wealth. The transformation happening in this moment isn't just in the water. It's in every cell of your body preparing to receive, recognize, and magnetize financial abundance. This is the journey from spiritual concept to material manifestation, and you've just completed the programming sequence that makes it possible. Write in the comments, "Wealth flows to me naturally," if you feel this frequency activating within you right now. Now comes the most critical part of this entire ritual, and it's where most people unconsciously sabotage everything they've just created. After you've whispered those 5 sacred words with genuine feeling and clear visualization, you drink the water. But not the way you normally drink water throughout your day, gulping it down mindlessly while your attention is already pulled toward the next task. This must be done with complete consciousness, with total presence, because this is the moment when everything you've programmed transitions from intention into physical. Integration. Bring the glass to your lips slowly. Feel the temperature of the water as it first touches your mouth. Is it cool? Room temperature? Notice the sensation as it crosses the threshold from outside your body to inside. This isn't just hydration anymore. This is the deliberate consumption of programmed consciousness. You're not drinking water. You're drinking love, gratitude, abundance, prosperity, and wealth in liquid form. The transformation you've encoded into those molecules is now becoming part of your cellular structure, and being fully present for this integration amplifies the impact exponentially. Feel the water on your tongue. Taste it. Not just the physical taste, but the energetic quality you've infused into it. Some people report that programmed water actually tastes different, sweeter or lighter, though that might be purely perceptual. What matters is that you're maintaining conscious awareness throughout the entire journey. As you swallow, track that water's path down your throat. Feel it traveling through your esophagus. Sense it entering your stomach. This level of body awareness might feel strange at first because we're so conditioned to be disconnected from our physical sensations, living entirely in our heads. But this sensory focus is what creates the complete circuit between intention and manifestation. Behind the scenes of this simple act of drinking, something profound is happening. That programmed water is being absorbed into your bloodstream within minutes. Within hours, it will have reached every organ, every tissue, every cell in your body. The frequency of love, gratitude, abundance, prosperity, and wealth that you encoded is now circulating through your entire being, communicating with your cellular intelligence, reprogramming patterns that have been running on autopilot for years or even decades. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that real transformation happens at the cellular level, not just in conscious thought. This is how you change your fundamental operating system rather than just installing temporary software updates that get overwritten by old patterns. The decisions your body makes about which opportunities to pursue, which people to trust, which actions to take, all happen primarily below conscious awareness. When your cells are vibrating at the frequency of wealth consciousness, those unconscious decisions align with manifesting financial abundance. This is the hidden truth most manifestation teachers miss because they focus entirely on conscious affirmations while ignoring the deeper programming. Write in the comments, "My cells are transforming," if you're genuinely feeling this integration happening within you. As that programmed water settles into your stomach and begins its journey of absorption, there's one more crucial step that seals the entire ritual. Repeat silently in your mind, not out loud, this specific affirmation. This water, programmed with love, gratitude, abundance, prosperity, and wealth, now becomes 70% of my body. Say it slowly, with intention, allowing each word to land in your consciousness with weight and meaning. This isn't just a nice phrase to make you feel good. This is a declaration of biological and energetic fact. The water you just consumed will literally become the majority of your physical being within hours. This mental repetition serves a specific purpose in the manifestation process. You're creating a conscious bridge between the ritual you just performed and the cellular integration that's happening behind the scenes. Your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your behavior and bodily functions, needs clear instructions. When you consciously affirm that this programmed water is becoming you, you're giving your subconscious permission to accept and implement the new frequency you've encoded. Without this affirmation, the ritual remains somewhat external, something you did to water rather than something that's transforming you from within. Now here's the revelation that changes everything about how you understand manifestation. Every single cell in your body is receiving this message right now. Your cells aren't separate from your consciousness. They're listening, responding, adapting to the information you're giving them. And here's the fundamental principle that Florence Scovel Shinn built her entire teaching upon. Your external reality must reflect your internal reality. Not might. Reflect. Not could possibly reflect. Must reflect. It's a law as reliable as gravity. When your internal state, your cellular vibration, your subconscious programming aligns with abundance, wealth, and prosperity, your external circumstances have no choice but to reorganize themselves to match that frequency. The transformation isn't magical thinking. It's understanding how consciousness creates matter, how your internal decisions influence which version of reality you experience. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change external circumstances through force and effort, while their internal state remains locked in patterns of scarcity, doubt, and limitation. It's like trying to change your reflection in a mirror by touching the glass instead of changing what's standing in front of it. The impact of this water ritual is that it changes what's standing in front of the mirror. It reprograms your cellular consciousness, which automatically shifts how you perceive opportunities, make decisions, and show up in the world. Behind the scenes, your nervous system begins broadcasting a different signal, and reality responds accordingly. Write in the comments, "My inner world creates my outer world," if this principle is clicking into place for you. This ritual I've just walked you through isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice that you must commit to for at least 30 days. And ideally, you'll do it with every single glass of water you drink throughout that period. 30 days isn't arbitrary. That's the minimum time frame required for new neural pathways to begin solidifying in your brain, for new patterns to start overriding old programming, for your cellular consciousness to fully integrate a new frequency. It's long enough that real transformation can occur, but short enough that you can actually commit without feeling overwhelmed by an endless obligation stretching into the distant future. Most people dramatically underestimate the power of consistent daily practice. They try a manifestation technique once or twice, see no immediate results, and abandon it as ineffective. But transformation doesn't work like flipping a light switch. It works like building muscle or learning a language through repetition, reinforcement, and gradual integration. Every time you bless your water, you're strengthening the neural connections associated with abundance consciousness. You're deepening the cellular memory of prosperity. You're training your subconscious to default to wealth mindset rather than scarcity thinking. The impact compounds exponentially over those 30 days, and by the end, you'll barely recognize the person who started this journey. Now, I need to warn you about 3 critical mistakes that will completely destroy the effectiveness of this practice. And the first one is something people violate constantly without realizing they're sabotaging their own manifestation. You must whisper these 5 words. Never, under any circumstances, speak them out loud in normal voice. This isn't about superstition or arbitrary rules. There's genuine power dynamics at play here that Florence Scovel Shinn understood deeply. When you whisper, you're concentrating your intention into a focused beam of energy, like a laser that can cut through steel. When you speak normally, that same energy disperses like a flashlight, scattered and diffused, losing most of its power before it ever reaches the water. The whisper bypasses your ego, that part of your consciousness that constantly judges, doubts, and second-guesses everything you do. Your ego loves to perform, to sound impressive, to convince others. But manifestation doesn't happen in the performative space. It happens in the intimate, private, sacred space where your soul communicates directly with the intelligence of water without interference from mental chatter. Behind the scenes of your conscious awareness, whispering activates different neural pathways than speaking, creating a state of focused receptivity rather than outward projection. The decisions you make about how seriously you take this detail will determine whether you experience genuine transformation or just go through empty motions that produce no results. Write in the comments, I honor the power of whispers if you're committed to doing this practice correctly rather than cutting corners. There's something deeply sacred about whispering that goes beyond just volume control. A whisper is the language your soul uses when it wants to communicate truth without the distortion of ego, without the performance of social interaction, without the noise of mental analysis getting in the way. When you whisper to your water, you're speaking from a place of pure intention, a direct transmission from your deepest consciousness to the receptive consciousness within the water itself. This is why ancient mystics across traditions used whispered prayers, why secret mantras were never spoken aloud, why the most powerful incantations throughout history have been delivered in hushed tones that bypass the rational mind entirely. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that the mind is both your greatest tool and your greatest obstacle. Your conscious, analytical mind wants to question everything, to demand proof, to inject doubt into even your most sincere intentions. But the whisper slips past those mental gatekeepers. It operates at a frequency where your soul and the intelligence of water can communicate directly, where transformation happens without the interference of skepticism or the need for logical explanation. This is the hidden truth that separates those who manifest consistently from those who struggle despite knowing all the right techniques. But there's another crucial reason why this practice must remain whispered and private. And this is where the second critical mistake comes into play. The moment you speak these words out loud, especially in the presence of others, you open your manifestation field to contamination from their doubt, their skepticism, their limiting beliefs about what's possible. Doubt isn't just a mental state. It's an actual frequency that disrupts and distorts the coherent field you're trying to create. When someone hears you blessing your water and thinks, "That's ridiculous," or "This person has lost their mind," their doubt literally interferes with your intention like static on a radio signal. Most people don't understand that. Manifestation happens in an energetic field that's extraordinarily sensitive to external influence, especially during the early stages when you're first establishing a new pattern. Behind the scenes of physical reality, consciousness is constantly interacting, overlapping, influencing other consciousness. The decisions you make about who to share your sacred practices with will either support or sabotage your entire journey. This isn't about being secretive for the sake of mystery. This is practical energy management. You wouldn't plant a delicate seed in fertile soil and then invite people to walk all over it, dig it up to check its progress, or tell you all the reasons it will never grow. The impact of doubt from others, even well-meaning friends and family, can completely undermine months of dedicated practice. Write in the comments, "My practice is sacred and private," if you understand why protecting your manifestation field from external interference is absolutely essential. The second critical mistake that destroys manifestation is sharing your sacred intentions with everyone who will listen. There's a natural human tendency to want to announce your goals, to tell people about the exciting new practice you're doing, to seek validation and support from those around you. But this impulse, as innocent as it seems, is actually one of the fastest ways to kill your manifestation before it ever takes root. Think of it like planting a seed in rich soil. That seed needs darkness, protection, and time to germinate beneath the surface before it's strong enough to break through into the light. If you keep digging it up every few days to show people, to check if it's growing, to explain what you're doing, you destroy the very conditions necessary for growth. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that silence multiplies power. When you keep your sacred practice private, you create a protected container where your intention can develop strength without interference. The journey from intention to manifestation requires a gestation period, a time when the energy is building and organizing behind the scenes of visible reality. Premature exposure disrupts that process. Every time you tell someone about your water blessing ritual and they respond with skepticism or dismissive comments, you're introducing contamination into your field. Even if they don't say anything negative out loud, their internal doubt affects the energetic atmosphere around your practice. This doesn't mean you can never share this knowledge. Once your manifestation has solidified, Once the results are undeniable, once your transformation is complete, then you can share from a place of established power rather than vulnerable beginning. But during those crucial first 30 days, treat this practice like a precious secret between you and the universe. Let your results do the talking. Let the changes in your financial situation, your opportunities, your entire life speak louder than any words you could use to explain what you're doing. Now, the third and perhaps most destructive mistake is practicing this ritual while simultaneously doubting its effectiveness. You cannot bless your water while thinking, "This probably won't work," or "I feel ridiculous doing this," and expect any positive outcome. Water responds to the dominant frequency you're broadcasting, and doubt is an incredibly powerful frequency that overpowers everything else. The impact of this contradiction is catastrophic to manifestation because you're essentially sending two opposite messages at once, and the stronger message, which is almost always doubt when you're new to this practice, wins every time. This is where genuine faith becomes non-negotiable. Not blind belief, but a willingness to suspend disbelief long enough to commit fully to the practice. Even faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains, but doubt the size of an atom stops all manifestation dead in its tracks. The decisions you make about whether to trust this process with complete conviction or hedge your bets with skepticism will determine everything about your results. Write in the comments, "I practice with complete faith," if you're ready to release doubt and embrace total commitment to this transformation. So here we are. You've made it all the way through, and that means something. It means you're not just casually browsing for entertainment. You're genuinely seeking transformation, and you're willing to do what it takes to manifest the abundance you deserve. That puts you in a different category from most people who will watch the first minute and click away because it challenges their comfortable skepticism. If you found value in what we explored today, if something shifted in your consciousness while we journeyed through this practice together, I'd be grateful if you'd subscribe to this channel. I create content like this because I believe Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings and practices like this water blessing ritual deserve to reach people who are ready to receive them. People like you. When you subscribe, you're ensuring that these revelations continue finding their way to you, and honestly, you're supporting the mission of spreading consciousness, expanding wisdom in a world that desperately needs it. Leave a comment right now saying, "This message was meant for me," so I know you made it to the end. I genuinely read these comments, and there's something powerful about declaring your readiness publicly, even in this small way. It's another layer of commitment to your transformation. And if you'd hit that like button, it helps this video reach others who are searching for exactly what you just discovered. Think of it as passing along a gift that was given to you. Now there's something else I need to share with you that builds on everything we just covered. There's a video right here that goes deeper into the mindset shifts that must accompany this practice if you want to see maximum results. Florence Scovel Shinn had specific teachings about the mental patterns that either accelerate or block manifestation, and understanding those patterns will multiply the effectiveness of your water blessing ritual exponentially. Click and continue with me over there. Your journey toward abundance is just beginning, and I'm honored to walk this path alongside you.